it is the power of planning. I think that too many people either they sit on a spectrum of planning that is either I don't do any planning and I sort of just let the world take me where it takes me, and then there are people who plan as overkill, and they spend so much time planning for something that they're not actually getting on and doing it. And I always say to people, whether they're talking about their career, whether they're talking about business, whether they're talking about life, that you have to have a healthy balance between making enough plans and agreeing enough actions that you want to take to be able to do something effectively, efficiently, successfully, but also not planning so much that you spend your time behind a desk in front of a computer or a pen and paper constantly planning. There are too many people in the world who are what we call wantrepreneurs, so people who want to leave business. In fact, research suggests that 2/3 of all millennials say that they want to start their own business. Yet the millennial generation at the minute has lower levels of business startup than other generations at their same age. So although we talk about millennials being really entrepreneurial and wanting to start something and go out and make a difference and setting up businesses and things like that, actually many of them are not doing that. And they are always saying, well, I'll plan for it, I'll write this when the time becomes right, when everything becomes perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect time. There's no such thing as a perfect time to start a business. There's no such thing as a perfect time to have children. There's no such thing as a perfect time to fall in love. There is never a perfect time for anything. There is the best possible time for something, but what generally makes a successful person over an unsuccessful person is the individual who spots an opportunity and then just goes for it, but goes for it in a way that is managed and planned and considered. So we have this idea of people who are a bit like a buccaneer or a swashbuckler. They just go into it and they see what happens. And there are people like that who make a success in their careers and their business by doing that. But actually, a lot of people have a plan, have some form of idea about where they want to ultimately go and where they want to ultimately end up. If you take my own career, when I started off as a teacher of history, sociology at a college. And really early on, I decided that I was fascinated by the business of education, and I wanted to move up in leadership and management in colleges and providers rather than being a teacher. And people said to me, well, where do you want to be in 10, 15 years time? And I said, well, my plan is to become a principal of a college. And people said, that's a bit ambitious, a bit whatever, typical millennial, that sort of stuff. But actually, the last corporate job I had, I ran a national training provider that was worth £12 million a year. Well, that is basically a private sector equivalent of a principal. So I got there. It was a bit of a funny old route that I took, but actually because I planned for it and because I knew where I wanted to get to in terms of my destination, it meant that every decision that I was making in my life was based upon the idea of, is this taking me one step closer to where I ultimately want to be? And I think that some people will just go for something without giving it too much thought about where they may end up, and that's risky. But also there are too many people who say, I would love to be, or I want to do this, but never actually do it, and spend so much time being paralysed. We talk about paralysis by analysis. So you spend so much time thinking about the what ifs that you never actually do. And so the biggest thing that I have to try and persuade people of is a mindset thing. Is you have to be clear about where you want to go, accept that it's not a straight line to get to it. Anybody who sails will know that a journey from A to B isn't a direct straight sail. It's actually a sail that goes a bit like that. But you have to be clear about where you want to be. And then you have to make decisions based on the idea of, is this getting me one step closer, no matter how small, to my ultimate ambition. But if you overthink it and overwork it and wait for a perfect time, you'll miss the boat. You'll miss the train. You won't be anywhere near where you need to be. So that's like the biggest takeaway that I give people. It's about a mindset. It's about having a clear destination, getting on with it, and making decisions that take you that one step closer.